Hello everyone! I have a awesome Xmas book haul for you today, but first, before we begin, I have two announcements to make. The first is that Les and I are now Book Depository affiliates, which basically means that you will now find links to books that we review as well as our general link in our doobly-doos now. And if you go through there and you decide to buy a book through the Book Depository, we get a small commission on that. We are not planning on getting rich by doing this. We just like the idea because it is supporting a good company and it has to do with books, and if we happen to make a little teensy bit, it'll basically go towards us in Europe and enjoying our study abroads, just in case you were wondering where that money was going. The other announcement is, you've probably been going, okay, she did something. Yes, I did chop all of my hair off. I got over a foot cut off my hair, and I decided to go for, a pixie cut. It looks pretty different, but I absolutely love it. It's so different. I've never had hair this short before in my life. But now, on to the nitty-gritty and why you guys are here today. So I have, as I said before, my Christmas book haul. I believe it's 10 books, and they're all pretty different, and none of them are YA, in case anyone was curious. But the first book I have is Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. Now, she wrote Gone Girl, which was an extremely popular book this year, but this is her first book that she ever wrote, and I've had multiple people tell me that you need to read this book, you need to read it. So yeah, I got an Amazon gift card, so I spent that on some books. I don't know too much about it, it's just I know that it's a very dark book. There's a murder, the Camille Preaker, she comes out of a psych hospital and sort of has to go back to her hometown and face some things that happened to her back when she lived there. So yeah, it should be a really wonderfully disturbing book. The second book that I got is Into Thin Air by Jon Krakauer. I have never read one of his books. I know a lot of people are required to read Into the Wild in high school. I did not have to, so I've never read a book of his, but this is basically an account of him hiking Everest in 1996, except when he hiked Everest on the way back down, they got caught in a horrible storm, and it was basically a really, really bad disaster happened, and it was all the wrong things happened at all the wrong time, and it just sounded like such an interesting book. I've been getting into these sort of adventure stories, not hugely, but yeah, the whole idea of climbing Everest and then running into this huge storm really, it makes me want to read this book a lot. The third book that I got is Ghosts in the Hills by Matthew Pierce. This was sent to me for review. It's a nonfiction story about an underdog Alabama high school football team, and I know a lot of you are thinking, you reading a sports story? But Friday Night Lights is actually one of my favorite TV shows ever, and it's focused about football. I mean, there are other things going on, but the core of it is about football and how that brings people together and the camaraderie and the strength that comes from that. So I figured I'd give it a shot, and we'll see how I like it. You'll probably be able to find out soon enough when I post a review. The next two books are, if you know me, you won't be surprised that I acquired these for Christmas. The first one is The Rough Guide to First Time in Europe, and since, I have been to Europe, but I was 12 and we only went to Ireland, so it kind of doesn't really count because it's the first time that I'll be there sort of roaming around myself. So my parents got me this book, and I started browsing through it. It's got a lot of really helpful information in the beginning about acquiring documents and stuff, and traveling by bus and train, and how that whole system works, just because the United States sucks with travel by bus and train. Basically everybody drives everywhere, and then they have specific information about all the countries in Europe, so obviously I will be checking out the Austria section specifically, and then kind of going from there, because I do plan to travel a lot when I'm there. Then I got 1,000 Places to See Before You Die by Patricia Schultz. This is the second edition, so it is in color, and it has pretty color pictures, but it is what it says, 1,000 Places to See Before You Die. It is literally just a list of 1,000 places to see all over the world, and I don't plan on getting to all of them in my lifetime, but I've probably been to a few already, at least the ones in the United States, and maybe a couple in Ireland and Canada. I love these kind of books, just flipping through them and reading what they have to say. Someday in my life I might make myself read everything, But that's not now. Now we have my last 5. That was my first 5. This is my last 5. The next 3 are all sort of go together. The first one is AWOL on the Appalachian Trail by David Miller. As some of you know, I have gone a little wilderness Becca lately, and I've really been into the idea of hiking the Appalachian Trail, the Long Trail in Vermont, someday hopefully the Pacific Crest Trail, and even maybe the Continental Divide Trail. But I've been really into reading stories of people's accounts hiking, and so I acquired this one on Amazon as well, and it's just basically his 2,175-ish, however long the Appalachian Trail is, nobody can quite agree, his journey on it, so I'm excited to read that. And my parents are also well aware of this little thing that I've gotten into, and so they got me 2 books. The first is 50 Hikes in Vermont, and it's just 50-day hikes that you can do, and so yeah, hopefully I'll get to use this a bit during the summer when I'm back between Europe and going back to school in Canada. If not, I can definitely save most of these for later. But yeah, I just really want to like get outside more and go explore Vermont a bit more. I mean, I grew up here and I know the area to a certain extent, but I feel like if I hiked and sort of got more adventurous, more outdoorsy, did some fun stuff rather than like forcing myself to go to the gym and work out and whatnot, I'd rather like hike some trails and do something more exciting, so this will hopefully help with that. And the other book that they got me is The Complete Idiot's Guide to Backpacking and Hiking, and this is by Jason Stevenson. It's exactly what it says it is, and I've actually already started reading it, and I've done so much research recently just related to this stuff that I feel like I already know, at least so far, what I've read. I'm looking for more specific stuff on like gear and things like that, but this should help give me a base to work off of, so when I do decide to go out and get adventurous, I'll have an idea of what I'm doing instead of being a complete idiot. Next I have Ghosts and Legends of Lake Champlain by Thea Lewis. What's hilarious is we're about to get a little bit personal here, but the boat that's on the cover here, I actually worked on this boat last summer. So if any of you guys remember how I said that I was working 2 jobs, one of my jobs was working on this very boat right here, and my parents didn't even realize that when they bought the book. Yeah, it should be a really short read. It just is interesting because it kind of hits closer to home, and so I'll learn some more interesting things about the state that I come from. The last book was actually given to me by lovely Les, who, you know, runs this channel with me. It's How to Be an Explorer of the World by Carrie Smith. She got it for me because she knows that I am really into traveling. This is actually by the same person who wrote Wreck This Journal, but this is more artsy than I usually get. I'm usually not this like, ooh, decorative pretty, but there's actually some really good ideas in here which I may try and incorporate into some stuff that I do when I'm abroad. I do plan on making videos, not necessarily like tons of videos, but if I do, I hopefully can use some of the ideas presented in this book. It also sort of gives you a different way of looking at your world, observing more, and just sort of appreciating even the most bland places. Like if you look around your room and there's little like ideas in here and you just sort of follow those ideas, and I can look around my room and sort of notice things that I've never really noticed before. So if you're kind of into those little like artsy, cool, creative books, this is definitely something you should check out. And there's also spots within here to like write things in and keep track of stuff, as well as some really cool pictures. Yeah. Check it. That concludes my Christmas book haul. If you guys want me to do reviews on any of the actual novels here, feel free to let me know below. If anybody does decide to go through our new Book Depository affiliate link, thank you so much. You're awesome. All of our regular links are below. Of course, you can subscribe if you love book hauls, because that sometimes happens on this channel, as well as other discussions about books. And of course, you can follow us on Twitter or friend and follow us on Goodreads. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.